What's going on, my name is Eason, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're gonna get into the origin and influences of urbanization. So we're getting started with cities. We're learning about what created the cities, where people live in the cities, where cities started, where they diffused to. We're gonna get into what influences the cities, like in the title, the government's role in the cities, and get started with urbanization and all that stuff for this unit of AP Human Geography. I did this video once, except the video did not record. But I had a lot of fun doing that, so maybe I'll have a lot of fun with this one. Let's get started though with introduction to cities. So a city is a large human settlement that is a part of the economy, which is basically the permanent inhabited portion of Earth. And cities consist of agricultural surplus, job specialization, and social stratification. So agriculture surplus, they have food to feed people. Job specialization means they have jobs so people can earn money. And then social stratification means there's a social system, I guess. Like, and I know in India we have the caste, not we, I don't live in India, but India has the caste system also. So not everyone's making the same money. Not everyone's living the same. So there's different standards of living and stuff like that. So that's what makes up a city. They have those three characteristics. If they don't have them, they're not a city. 50% of the world lives in cities, and by 2030, that's going to be around 60%, and it's just going to ever so increase. And cities started to build because of the first agricultural revolution. People were getting food for the first time, so we got the surplus. They had jobs as farmers, and then people were making money. They were living differently, and they were socializing and stuff like that. So we have all three of those characteristics because of the first agricultural revolution. And then we saw other revolutions like the Industrial Revolution that had these characteristics as well, but for something different, and they created even more cities. Now let's get into urban hearths. This is where urbanization really started happening first before it diffused. Remember, a hearth is where something starts and then it diffuses to other places through various methods. So in the Western Hemisphere, we see Mesoamerica with the Aztecs and the Mayan group. They're the ones who first built those cities. Then in South America, we see the Andean region, primarily with the Incas. We see this out here in like Peru. And then jumping to the Eastern Hemisphere and Northern Africa, we see in the Nile Valley with those Egypt cities and civilizations and all of that stuff. They were along a river, so they had access to water to build crops. Then we have Mesopotamia, which definitely has access to water, and this is where agriculture really first started as well. So they were probably one of the first people to start building those crazy cities out there. Mesopotamia there. And then we have the Indus River region out in India, all of that. They started building cities. And then finally in Eastern Asia and China, we had the Hung Hao, how the heck you want to say it. I am not Chinese. And that river region. And yeah, those are our urban hearths. Kind of know where these are and where they diffuse to, all that stuff. Interactions between them. Those people in the Middle East, Europe, in Northern Africa, they interacted with each other through trade, and stuff. And that built even more cities that people lived in other areas and all of that cool stuff. Now let's get into site and situation. And these influence cities when it comes to the origin, when they first started, function, what do they do, and growth, how they develop and annex more land to become bigger. So let's get started with site, which is the natural environment and resource in like a place. And these factors include, but not limited to, climate, availability of water, geographic features like mountains and deserts, lumber, and oil. And these are all natural. They're not man-made. We don't see infrastructure. We don't see sewage. We don't see ports. We don't see any of this stuff here. We just see natural environment and resources. And these influence a city when it comes to things. They make things harder to build, make things easier to build, access to water to get food and all that stuff. So let's see an example of site. So Mudanjiang, China, has very fertile soil and access to water. This allows for crops to be grown that can be exported to other places. So this spot in China, it's in China. Remember, there's an urban hearth in China as well. They had fertile soil, which is a part of the site, and access to water, which is a part of the site as well. Those are two site factors. And crops can be grown and be exported to other places. So they can create a city because they have farmers for jobs, people are making money and living for social specialization, and then they have food grown from crops. So we can create a city. The function is to grow crops, to export them to make money, and then the development is to earn money from the crops, and basically they're in China and stuff like that. I can't explain it that much because we don't have as many details for that. But as we can see, this example shows all three of those influences we just talked about. Now let's get into situation and an example for that. So situation is factors in a place that connect and are relative to other places. So it's like railroads, airports, ports, highways, roads, all of that stuff connects places to each other. An example of this is the Port of New Orleans. This is a historic and contemporary example. It's a lot for trade between America and other countries, and this makes it an important city for the economy of the world and America. So the origin, the port allowed for jobs to open up and all that stuff. So we have the origin, the function is to export and get imports, and then the growth is more people moving there for jobs, and they're taking more land to support these people and stuff like that. So there we go. The Port of New Orleans, or New Orleans. How do you say that? I'm sure there's like, I mean, it varies from place to place because of dialects, but like, that's cool. So yeah, makes it an important city for the economy, and that's a situation in America. Very, very cool. Now let's get into urbanization influences. So there's 5 main influences that you need to know that cause and influence urbanization. And the first one's going to be transportation. So cars and highways allow for people to live in suburbs and travel. So transportation allows people to travel to and from urban areas to interact with them. And they can also live in the suburbs away from those urban areas. Remember, suburbs are those places on the outskirts of urban areas, not necessarily in the cities, but not necessarily in those dispersed rural areas. Then we see communication, which kind of goes into the transportation thing as well. But people communicate with anyone ever there, maybe because they can travel there, or because we have the internet, 5G, 4G, text, cell phones, all of that stuff. So communication influences urbanization because of that reason. Then we see migration. So clusters of people going to areas can create and grow urban cities. With civilizations, there's bound to be cities developing. And then the next 2 you need to know is economic development, which people will move to urban areas for jobs and services. So if people are going to there for jobs, it's going to increase the economies, and certain services will allow for people to earn money or give money as well. And then we see government policies. So the government will make the city more appealing so businesses will open there. And this allows to boost the economy, make the city, look good so people can go there. They'll do this with financial incentives. So stuff like lower taxes, stimulus checks, I guess. And then what was the last one? Pensions. And then we see low crime. They don't want people to be scared that they're going to get robbed or killed or stuff like that. So they're going to have low crime. They're going to fund the police, have a justice system, all that stuff in the city. They're also going to have education and entertainment opportunities, allow you to get the skills to get great jobs, entertain you when you're not working or being productive, with parks, theaters, and all that. They're going to have infrastructure, stuff like buildings and stuff, so you can live better, with sewage so there's not waste on the street. Transportation allow you to move in from places in the city and the suburbs and the rural areas. And then housing, they got to house the people there somehow. And people aren't going to move to cities if they can't live in buildings and stuff. They don't want to live on the streets. That's nobody's dream. So they got to have houses there to make it more appealing and have people there. And yeah, those are our main influences. And that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and like the video. It really does help me out. Drop a comment with the criticism. I love criticism. And join my Discord server. Links in the description down below. I got nothing else for y'all. I got more AP Human Geography videos, but yeah, that's the end for this video. Adios.